The DEFCON scale is the most powerful and secretive alert system ever created by the United States. A five-step ladder that measures how close the world is to all-out war, including nuclear war. Most people imagine DEFCON as something dramatic, a flashing red warning before missiles launch. But in reality, the scale is far more complex, more strategic, and infinitely more terrifying. Today, we break down every level, from calm stability to the moment nuclear war becomes unavoidable. DEFCON 5, Fade Out, Normal Peacetime. DEFCON 5 is the baseline, the calmest the world can possibly be. It represents full peacetime readiness, normal operations, no immediate threats, no rising tensions. Military forces operate on predictable, scheduled routines. Training rotations, maintenance cycles, long-term strategy meetings, nothing out of the ordinary. Air Force bombers remain in their hangars. Submarines follow standard deployment patterns. U.S. intelligence agencies track global activity, but nothing demands urgent attention. A real example would be a U.S. naval fleet conducting a long-planned Pacific deployment, or an Army brigade participating in a scheduled exercise with NATO forces in Europe. Everything is peaceful, or at least as peaceful as the modern world allows. DEFCON 4, Double Take, Increased Security. DEFCON 4 is still technically peace, but peace with tension in the air. This level is triggered when global instability begins to rise. Intelligence agencies increase satellite surveillance over key regions. Signal interception ramps up. Security tightens at U.S. bases and embassies around the world. Military commanders begin preparing contingency plans just in case. It's a precaution, not panic, but vigilance. A realistic scenario would be political turmoil in a nuclear-armed nation. For example, a military coup, collapsing government, or sudden leadership crisis. U.S. forces in the region quietly elevate to DEFCON 4, watching for any sign that nuclear weapons might be compromised. The world still appears stable, but under the surface, alarms are warming up. DEFCON 3, Roundhouse, Heightened Readiness. Military forces move into a faster, battle-ready posture. Air Force bomber wings may be ordered to prepare for launch in as little as 15 minutes. Communication channels remain open 24/7 with strict authentication protocols. At this level, the U.S. sends an unmistakable message. We're not looking for a fight, but we are ready for one. The most famous moment the U.S. reached DEFCON 3 was during the Yom Kippur War of 1973. The Soviet Union threatened to intervene militarily in the Middle East. In response, President Nixon ordered U.S. forces worldwide to raise readiness. It was a signal to Moscow. Any step forward could trigger a direct conflict with the United States. DEFCON 3 is not war, but it is the doorway to it. DEFCON 2 means fast pace, the brink of war. DEFCON 2 is one heartbeat away from nuclear conflict. It means war is not just possible, it is likely. The entire U.S. military must be able to deploy and fight within 6 hours. Nuclear forces enter hair-trigger readiness. Strategic bombers take off and begin airborne patrol routes. ICBM crews inside missile silos insert their launch keys. The president moves to a secure command center. At this stage, any mistake, miscommunication, or false alarm could end civilization. DEFCON 2 has happened only once, the Cuban Missile Crisis. When U.S. spy planes found Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba, Strategic Air Command elevated to DEFCON 2 while the Navy formed a blockade. For days, the world stood in total silence, waiting to see which superpower would blink first. One wrong move, and the Earth would have been ash and shadows. DEFCON 1, Cocked Pistol, Nuclear War. DEFCON 1 is the final step, the moment nuclear war becomes real. It is not a warning. It is confirmation. A massive strategic attack is underway or already incoming. Nuclear weapons are authorized to use. Command authority becomes decentralized, so retaliation continues even if Washington is destroyed. Missile crews receive final orders for launch. Bomber squadrons are cleared to strike predetermined targets. Submarines begin transmitting encrypted launch signals across the oceans. Once DEFCON 1 is declared, the world has crossed the line. There is no going back. No country in history has ever officially reached DEFCON 1. But experts agree, if early warning satellites detected hundreds of incoming enemy missiles, if radar sites confirmed the trajectory, and if ground sensors validated the attack, DEFCON 1 would be declared instantly. From that moment on, the world would move from the threat of nuclear war to the execution of it. The DEFCON system was created to prevent a surprise attack, but it also exposes how fragile global stability truly is. A misunderstanding, a false radar signal, a misinterpreted troop movement, any of these could push nations up the ladder toward catastrophe. Today, we live at DEFCON 5, peaceful, calm, predictable. But the steps above it still exist, waiting in the background. A reminder that as long as nuclear weapons remain in our world, humanity will always stand a few decisions away from its own destruction. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like and subscribe for more.